You don't quit because you're lazy. You don't quit because you lack discipline. You quit because your brain is trying to protect you. And once you understand how your brain does that, everything changes. In this video, I'm going to show you why consistency feels impossible, why motivation always disappears, why discipline doesn't work, and how to rewire your brain so habits actually stick. This isn't another try harder video. This is the explanation you were never given. So if you've been quitting on yourself and blaming your character, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you won't hate yourself for struggling anymore. You'll finally understand why. 1. The real reason you keep quitting on yourself. Be honest. How many times have you said, "This time I'm serious," and then ghosted your own goals like a toxic ex? Yeah, same. Here's the wild part. You don't quit because you're weak. You quit because your brain is trying to protect you. Your brain hates uncertainty. And every time you start something new, a new habit, a new routine, a new version of you, your brain goes, danger, unfamiliar, abort mission. So it floods you with doubt, overthinking, sudden cravings, and the sudden urge to scroll for 3 hours straight. Not because you're lazy, but because your brain prefers familiar pain over unfamiliar progress. Crazy, right? And every time you quit, your brain learns, oh, quitting equals safe. So it suggests it faster next time. Sneaky. But here's the plot twist. You don't need more motivation. You need to teach your brain that consistency equals safe. That's why tiny wins matter, not dramatic glow-ups, tiny promises you actually keep. And if this is hitting a little too close to home, tap follow. 2. How to stop quitting on yourself. Okay, so now we know your brain isn't broken. It's just overprotective. Like a mom who texts, "Did you eat? Did you die? Why aren't you replying?" Your brain's #1 job is not to make you successful. It's to keep you alive. So when you try to change, new habits, new routines, new identity, your brain panics. Unknown territory detected. Risk level. Emotional damage. Return to bed immediately. And that's why you feel resistance even when you want to change. So how do you stop quitting? You stop trying to prove something and start trying to feel safe. Because consistency isn't built by motivation. It's built by evidence. Every tiny promise you keep tells your brain, oh, we're safe. Not, I'm waking up at 5 a.m. forever. But I'll stand up when my alarm rings. Not, I'm going to work out 6 days a week. But I'll put on my shoes. Not, I'm fixing my entire life. But I'll drink 1 glass of water. Yes, it sounds small. That's the point. Because your brain doesn't trust your big speeches. It trusts your receipts. And every time you quit on yourself, you teach your brain, don't trust her. Don't trust him. Don't trust them. Ouch. But every time you keep a tiny promise, you rebuild that trust. And that's how you stop self-sabotaging. Not by becoming a new person overnight, but by becoming a safe person to yourself. You don't need discipline. You need self-trust. 3. How to build habits your brain can't resist. Okay, so now you know. Your brain doesn't hate you. It just hates effort. Not because it's lazy, because it's efficient. Your brain is constantly asking one question. How can I use the least amount of energy possible and still survive? That's it. That's the whole personality. So when you try to build a habit that feels heavy, complicated, overwhelming, your brain goes, nope, too much. Let's lie down. And that's why most habits fail. Not because they're bad, but because they're too hard to start. Here's the rule. If it feels like effort, your brain will resist it. If it feels easy, your brain will repeat it. Your job is not to be motivated. It's to make habits stupidly easy, like almost embarrassing. Not, I'll journal for 20 minutes, but I'll write 1 sentence. Not, I'll do a full workout, but I'll stretch for 10 seconds. Not, I'll read a whole chapter, but I'll read 1 paragraph. Yes, 1. Because once you start, momentum kicks in. Starting is the hardest part, not continuing. And every time you make something easy to start, your brain goes, oh, this isn't scary. And when something isn't scary, it becomes automatic. That's how habits are built. Not with pressure, not with guilt, not with I have to, but with I can. Your brain doesn't need you to be intense. It needs you to be consistent. And consistency isn't about doing more, it's about doing less more often. Tiny, boring, repeatable. That's the formula. You don't need a new personality. You need a system that respects how your brain actually works. 4. How to stay consistent even after you mess up. Let me guess. You were doing good, like really good. Then one day, you missed. One workout, one journal entry, one habit, and suddenly your brain went, well, we failed. Might as well quit. Let's restart next month. Next month. This is called all or nothing thinking. Your brain believes if it's not perfect, it's pointless, which is fake news. Missing once doesn't break a habit, quitting does. But your brain doesn't see it that way. It sees one slip and goes, we're back to square one. Dramatic. Here's the truth. Consistency is not never missing. It's never quitting. You're not behind because you missed a day. You're behind if you don't come back. Big difference. So how do you stop spiraling? You follow one rule. Never miss twice. That's it. Missed today? Okay. But tomorrow, you show up. Not perfectly, not intensely, just present. Didn't work out? Tomorrow, stretch for 10 seconds. Didn't journal? Tomorrow, write one word. Didn't wake up early? Tomorrow, just sit up. Yes, that counts. Because your brain doesn't need perfection. It needs proof you don't abandon yourself. And every time you come back instead of quitting, you teach your brain, oh, we don't give up on us. That's powerful. That's how self-trust is built. Not by never failing, but by always returning. You're not inconsistent. You just quit too early. Finally, how to make habits feel good so you actually keep them. Okay, final truth. Your brain doesn't resist habits because they're hard. It resists them because they're not rewarding. Your brain is a reward machine. It runs on dopamine, relief, comfort, safety, not growth, not discipline, not character development. So when you build habits that feel like punishment, your brain goes, no heart. And then you call that lack of willpower. It's not. It's bad design. If a habit only pays off in 6 months, your brain does not care. It wants a reward now, not later, now. So if you want habits that stick, you attach instant rewards. After journaling, you play your favorite song. After working out, you shower with your favorite scent. After studying, you watch one comfort video. Yes, that's allowed. You're not bribing yourself. You're training your brain. Because when your brain starts associating habits with comfort, it stops resisting and starts craving. That's how routines become automatic. Not through suffering, but through safety. Let me say that again. Habits don't stick because they're hard. They stick because they feel safe, familiar, comforting, non-threatening. That's why you can scroll for 2 hours without effort, but can't journal for 2 minutes. One feels safe, the other feels like pressure. So if you want to finally change, stop asking, how do I force myself? And start asking, how do I make this feel good? You don't need more discipline. You need more kindness in your systems. That's the real glow up. You were never lazy. You were just trying to grow in an environment that felt unsafe. Now, you know better. And if no one's told you this, you're not behind. You're just learning how your brain actually works. And that changes everything.